The first message. It was not the time when the colorful bird flew by. It was not Mother Sva circling over Midgard. It was life itself that composed this song. It wasn't the sun, but the sun god's reign. Ingard bloomed, spreading wisdom. A child was born on Ingard. In Ingard everything bloomed, spreading through lands. In ancient times ancestors were with gods, settling Asvarg. A child was born in Ingard, receiving light from Dashbog the sun. In those ancient times when ancestors of our forebears were bonding with all the heavenly gods and they were settling new lands in Asvarg, a beautiful child was born on Ingard under the shade of Dashbog, the sun god. He received light from Dashbog, and from them he absorbed love. He looked over the world, he raised his hands, and his father named Ladaat. Light from Dashbog in parents' hands, absorbing love. He saw his world, raised hands to Svarog. Father named him Ladat, endowed with strength, a warrior's gift from Asvarga. He surveyed his birthplace named Ladat. Endowed with strength, Ladat grew, learning wisdom and discovering origins. He was endowed with a marvelous strength, a warrior's strength, a glorious strength. It was a divine gift, a gift from Asvarg. Under the watchful eye of his stepfather, Ladat grew up. He learned about the world, the ancient wisdom. From his gray-haired ancestors, he discovered the source from which the world was originally born. And as the years went by, Ladat learned about other worlds in Mother Svarog, how life flows in those worlds, and how God's will is fulfilled there. In the blue of the nights, when moons sleep, he gazed at stars pondering. His soul yearned to follow his thoughts to other worlds, yet he knew the ancestral way. 2 cycles with his parent to learn deeds and integrity. When the time came, he grew strong, filled with power. But he also knew the ancestral way, that he must spend 2 cycles of years with his parent to learn from his father how to carry out deeds and act with integrity. As the time came, he grew strong, his young body filled with power. Ladat set out across the land of Ingard to seek his destiny and companions. With a light heart, he set off on his journey in search of his destiny with determination and with his parents' blessing. The original path, as the tradition dictates, led Ladat to the sacred forest, where in the silence of the woods stood a hermitage shrine. In the forest hermitage lived an ancient elder. He knew the gods, all the worlds with the stars. His life experience spanned many years. The elder lived in the forest for 9 eternal years, for that was the supreme will of Svarog. In that forest hermitage, Ladat lived for 8 long years and 3 months. He understood the essence of many things. Having succeeded in his labors, creating abundance and wisdom, and gaining insight through contemplation, he was in the care of the ancient elder for his education. The elder revealed to him the meaning of the universe, how the law of the gods of light was embodied, and how life flourished in distant lands. And at the appointed hour, Ladat learned about the 8 paths that lie among the stars, how time flows swiftly along them. The peaceful path connected Ingard and Midgard, worlds of golden suns in one sleeve. To walk her path, one must visit many lands near the bright stars. Midgard called the soul with a dance of dreams, for he gathered the wisdom of many stars, which is preserved by those who inhabit that world. In that distant world, close to the boundary, there is a source of life on the Holy Land, nourishes the souls of those living in Midgard. But many times have flown by in Asvarg. and life has changed on that Midgard land where the wondrous path once lay. For the 4 worlds, Midgard became a homeland, and the world divided into many peoples, where each preserved only the memory of the gods. Gods guard Midgard, protecting life from abyss-born threats. Weitmar's shield Midgard from unknown forces, stopping unworthy deeds, and the gods tirelessly watch over Midgard, guarding the source of life from those born in the hellish world that lies in the deep abyss. The golden Weitmars protect Midgard from the unknown forces that have emerged from the darkness, so that they do not carry out any unworthy deeds. The undead, the non-human, and all kinds of demons strive to drink from the source of life, so that they can be on par with Svarog. Conscience, as the highest law of the universe, commands us to protect all sources of life, so that development in Svarog can be fulfilled, and the gods bring their wisdom to Midgard, guiding the light towards their descendants, so that only conscience would serve as the measure. From different halls of the Svarog circle, the bright gods descended to Midgard, and each gave guidance to the peoples for righteous living in dark times, when this sleeve would once again return to the light, and the gods from Svarog would return to their descendants. Thus, the elder instructed Ladat in the Scythian way, which stood among the sacred trees that grant strength in the pursuit of knowledge. Many years have passed since that blessed time. Ladat grew and thrived in Ingard, and fulfilled all that was prescribed by his kin. Gathering together his brothers in arms, on a small fire like Weitmar, fate led them from Engard through the world. They raced along the peaceful path through Svarog, exploring many worlds and their fates, and soon they arrived at Unigard. They were met with honor and respect by the heads of the clans and the servants of the sun, who inhabited the sacred land. They were invited to live in Asgard on Iria, to behold the beauty of Belovodya with their own eyes, and to find comfort in conversations with the elder kin. In unified agreement, the brothers in arms accepted this invitation with honor, bringing joy to Great Russia. The great feast lasted for 29 days, in honor of those who came from the ancient homeland, where the clans of ancient life lived, where the clans of the ancient race lived. But the time came, and the feasts echoed across different corners of the whole land of the holy race. The brothers in arms were getting ready for the journey. They decided to see the wondrous land with their own eyes in an equal circle, so that they could tell each other everything afterward. Only Ladat remained in Asgard. At the request of the keepers of ancient wisdom, conversing with them about the eternity of life, he asked them to tell him about the place where the source of life is preserved, so that he could truly understand its power. The elders did not answer this question. The shadow of their thoughts concealed their faces, and silently they departed from Dubrava. For several days the keepers of wisdom engaged in a heated debate on the topic of whether a guest should lower themselves to the source. Suddenly, his kindness is just a trick to reach the source of life, to commit an unworthy act there. The event is fresh when those from hell sought the source of life. They posed as keepers from Midgard's radiant Trisvet. Dorislav the Many-Wise, the oldest, resolved the dispute. They pretended to be keepers, having arrived in Midgard from the radiant Trisvet, which illuminated many worlds with wisdom. The dispute was resolved by Dorislav the Wise, the oldest of the long-lived, who had already lived 6 circles of life. Before taking Kostya to the source, let him reveal the sacred word that unveils the meaning of the universe. Ladart and Darislav hid away from the eyes of the people for a long time in the sacred grove, where he revealed the sacred word to the elder. Ladat praised the guardians for protecting the source of life from undead from hell. He gave gifts from Isengard to ease their anxiety. The wise elders accepted and placed them in their shrine for all to see. They also recognized the bright commandments inscribed in runes in Santya as essential for the race. Your family union, rooted in ancient faith, will be built on the great rule of the spiritual swastika, and they recognize the most beautiful and necessary for the race as the set of bright commandments, which they inscribed in runes in Santya. Your family union, deepened by the ancient faith of your ancestors, will be built upon the great rule that carries the spiritual swastika. Know that balance flows into the opposing halls of the circle of Sva. Besides the swastika and the triswastika, for these heavenly halls do not generate balance, but rather mutual love and fertility. Preserve people in your great and small clans, the ancient wisdom of your ancestors, and the heavenly wisdom of your bright gods. The supreme heavenly truth of Svarog becomes accessible and understandable only to those among the great race of people who strive for the heights of creation, advancing along the supreme golden path of spiritual and soulful perfection. Protect the supreme heavenly truth from malevolent dark forces, and also from the ignorant people with sleeping souls and hardened hearts. For, having seized the wisdom of the highest truth, they will distort the heavenly truth of the heavens and hide it from the eyes of those seeking the golden path of spiritual and soulful perfection. Pass on the wisdom of good creation. Preserve your homeland's beauty, enhancing it. And let this wisdom flow from fathers to sons and from grandfathers to grandsons. Preserve the beauty of your native land for the descendants of your ancient families, increasing the beauty of your native land for the glory of the gods and your ancestors. Do not allow evil and unrighteous anger into your souls, for they will blacken your souls, and your hearts will become hardened. Do not listen to the eyes of those people who say that the highest truth of Svarga and the wisdom of your holy gods has been lost, since they themselves do not know what they are proclaiming. For it is impossible to lose what is connected with your souls and hearts. It is the sacred duty of every man from the ancient lineages of the great race and all descendants of the heavenly lineage to bear sons, so that they may become the continuators of the ancient great lineages. It is the great duty of every man from the lineages of the great race to bear daughters, for they are to give birth to children to continue the ancient great lineages. Thus spoke Ladat before the elders, who preserve all the wisdom of Midgard for all generations of the great race. Only the last word was inscribed. Dorisla the many-wise came to the elders. He led Ladat to the source along a secret path, engaging in measured conversations and ensuring their trail was visible. Upon arrival, Daryaslav vanished among the sacred trees, leaving Ladat at the threshold. Ladat drank from the source of life, awakening unknown powers granted by the bright gods. Discovering these powers, he glorified the heavenly lineage and returned to Asgard with Daryaslav. And Ladat drank from the source of life, and unknown powers unfolded within him, which were granted to the bright gods from the very beginning. Having discovered all the powers that awakened within him, he immediately glorified the heavenly lineage and returned to Asgard with Daryaslav. Ladat visited many peoples in different lands of beautiful Midgard, where he learned about God's creations. The brothers and comrades gathered once more, sharing everything they had learned with each other, and then, after saying their goodbyes, they departed for the heavens. With that, Ratimir finished his song. The blessed message remained in the hearts, but it will be preserved on the lips and in the lineages. The next day, at the market of Vendagard, He continued his tales to the people who had come, and he shared a new message with the nations.